Certainly, today there has been a quite volatile day in the markets. The markets have started with a volatile increase, quite pronounced really, after the main central banks in the world decided to lower their interest rates in a coordinated move by 0.5%. The European Central Bank, the US Federal Reserve, China, Japan and the Swiss National Bank all lowered the interest rates by 0.5%. We can see this. The US Federal Reserve has now its interest rates at 1.5%, lowered from 2%. The European Central Bank has lowered its interest rate by 0.5 percentage point to 3.25%. Japan and China have both lowered their interest rates at a lower rate of 0.2%. However, Australia has lowered the interest rate by a full percentage point, just as the Swiss National Bank. This international coordination in the monetary policy move has been interpreted by some as an underline of how bad market conditions have become, according to the capital economist Julian Gisop. This international economic coordination is an example of how countries are trying to face this global crisis.
In times of crisis, our customers need to know what to do with their money. We offer the lowest 6% interest for our accounts. Choose Bank Inter. Truth is what matters.
And this is an example of international economic coordination. The cut in interest rates comes after a pronounced decrease in the level of inflation in most of the countries, although in some of the countries inflation isn't low enough in order to this tremendous rate cut. We can see this in the Eurozone. Inflation rate is at 3.2%, which came down from a 3.8% level in August. The US inflation has decreased from 4.7% down to 4.5%. China suffers from a relatively high inflation at a level of 4%, but this has been severely affected on China's reliance on exports. Internationally, countries now don't buy Chinese exports. So now, for example, toy makers in China, half of them are in a bankrupt state. Japan has a level of 1.6 inflation, which, although it may seem quite low, it is the second record on the rates of inflation, just overcome by the 3% rate of inflation which Japan reached in August. The international economic coordination is going to be put forward by the US President George W. Bush, and he's going to arrange a meeting, the G20 meeting. He has already invited the 20 economic powers of the world, although some polemic has arisen as Spain, the 8th economic power of the world, was not invited. With this meeting, an international economic cooperation is hoped to be reached in order to face this economic crisis before it is too late. Mike, how is the atmosphere at the G20 before the leaders of the great economic powers of the world meet in 2 weeks' time? Yes, certainly. And here is where all the leaders of the greatest economic powers in the world are going to meet in 2 weeks' time to take the most important decisions that may establish the future of the world's economies. Let's take a closer look. Now we're going up the stage. Here we see a circle of chairs around this HO. It is in this HO where each individual leader of their country will propose their suggestions to the rest of the countries in what they think they have to do in order to make this global crisis ease. Around the HO, there are some chairs. In these chairs will be the government's prime ministers, analysts, and other economists of this particular country, which is speaking at the moment in the atrium. It is in this place where the first international economic coordination meeting will take place. It feels rather good being like one of these leaders, which will in 2 weeks' time take important decisions for the sake of this world. This is Mike for King's News. Okay, so that's all for today. See you tomorrow at 9 a.m. informative. That's all. Thank you.